With Ninjago ended, a lot of fans are in tears. I know how you feel, guys. When my favorite LEGO theme, Adventurers, was cancelled, I felt the same way. But Johnny Thunder still lives because of the people who write about him. And trust me, I do not think the ninja are in any danger of losing fans who write stories about them. The trick to writing good fan fiction? Being able to back up what you're writing using things from the series, real-life information, and your own experiences. So here's me, Scarheart, divided into LEGO knowledge, creative side, and researcher, here to show you what I've applied in my own fanfictions, and to give you Ninjago fans out there some ideas on where you can start writing. A few episodes back, I mentioned that it was possible for Zane to get sick if you went along with the cyborg theory. Today, I'm going to expand on that and talk about how to make a character sick and why you'd want to do so in the first place for a story. This may seem like an odd choice of topic, but I have my personal reasons for wanting to do this. When I was in middle school, my best friend could beat me in pretty much everything. She got better grades than I did, she was more athletic, and she was better liked by the other students and by the teachers. I wasn't really jealous of this though, because at the time I was recovering from a state of depression, being bullied, and overall just going through a hard time. And having this girl by my side as my best friend was a really powerful ally to have through this storm. Anyway, she went through a phase where she decided she really wanted to write and publish a fantasy book. One of her earliest ideas was to take off our favorite game, which was to have a plague sweep through the city that our characters lived in. Now by now, I had already been fascinated with disease stories for years, and I was really good at writing them myself. So if this was going to be written by someone who could beat me at anything, I was ready to have my socks blown off when I read over her chapters. But in the end, the character didn't act remotely sick when she got the plague. My best friend had come up with a huge list of symptoms, and the character didn't have any of them. In fact, she was up out of bed and doing swordplay. To this day, I still beat her when it comes to medical stuff, and I really don't want this to happen to you guys. So if you guys will allow me to toot my own horn a bit, I'd like to have an expert teach you on how to write an illness story. First of all, there's how to show a character is sick. As my mom has told me several times over my years of writing, don't tell me, show me. The first thing you need to do with the disease is look up what the symptoms are. In other words, how can you tell that something's wrong, and what can you tell is wrong from what's wrong with them? For example, say a person has the chicken pox. You know because they're covered in red itchy spots and they have a fever. You can tell if a person has a stomach flu because they're throwing up, have a fever, and are feeling nauseated. You can tell if a person has a cold because they're coughing, sneezing, and are all stuffed up. Do your homework and find out what the disease is and what it causes. Now, some of these symptoms you can't see. So how do you show them? You show them by applying things that are related to the symptoms. For example, a fever can be shown if a character is flushed and shivering. Or maybe another character could say that the character's forehead feels hot. Or you could have a character take their temperature with a thermometer and say what the thermometer says. Another example is feeling tired and weak, which is also very common with an illness. Now, you can show that by slowed down movements and by having them perhaps just feeling too tired to get out of bed. However, keep in mind not everyone with an illness is willing to stay in bed, especially if the illness is mild or if there's trouble going on. However, even if they're like this, they need to be feeling the effects of the illness. I'm not saying go anime and make them pass out. That only happens under really extreme circumstances. But, like I said, not having them fight as well can show that a character isn't feeling well. So now, why don't we get down to why you should make a character sick in the first place? The fact is, there are a lot of ways you can use an illness in a fanfiction. The most popular way is to have a lover taking care of a sick lover. It's kind of overused, but if you have your heart set, I won't stop you. Keep in mind this one, while it can add humor, and I suppose more romance if you have the other lover end up catching it, not every illness is contagious, so check your facts. I'm not going to supply an example for this one because, honestly, they're everywhere on fanfiction sites. Just look for yourself. A second use is to do it for comedic reasons. Maybe a loud sneeze causes a chain of reaction to happen to the ninjas. Yeah, that's the best example I'm going to come up with. Let me just give you an actual example. Once Bitten, Twice Shy from the Ninjago series. While Jay technically doesn't have an illness, his condition does lead to some humorous parts in the episode, including his ridiculous outfit to try to hide it from Nia. The third way is a cure search. If a character has something deadly, or just something really annoying, and there's a rare cure, then the others are definitely going to try to find it in order to save them. Just don't do the whole shoots the person that the guy loves and then says there's a way you can save them if you get this artifact for me. In other words, don't do Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because it's really overdone. The best example I could come up with for this is actually from an old TV show that was based off the movie Aladdin. I'll put a link in the description, but basically the genie catches a cold, and Aladdin goes off to find an orb that will cure him because his cold is causing his magic to go haywire. Lastly, and this is my personal favorite, an illness can be used to slow down a story. Sick characters need to rest, meaning there's no action or fighting the bad guy. And that means that characters have time to talk, and therefore develop. Another thing that you can do with this is you can have the character do action, but the actions are related to how they're reacting to the illness. For example, and I'm sorry, I don't want to self-advertise, but this is honestly the best example I can come up with, we have Tale of Zane, in which Zane runs away because of how he's reacting to him catching a cold for the first time in front of his fellow ninjas. This is especially useful for OCs in stories, which is why so many OCs are introduced to the ninjas by the ninjas giving them medical attention. I know I said before that using a medical situation to introduce an OC is overused, and I still stand by that. But I didn't say you couldn't have the OC get sick later for this purpose, or for any other purpose for that matter. So happy writing and happy making people sick. Next time, I'll get into how to mix up characters. Wait, where's Legofan in all this? Yeah, ironically enough, she's got a cold. Poor girl. We should go make her some soup.